It's a recent discovery that even plants, flowers have sexes. There are some flowers that have male and female in itself. There are other plants and trees, they are separate sexes, like the date palm. The male tree is different from the female tree. I'm sure you Arabs know that. See, we didn't know that. Mankind didn't know that. In the time of the Prophet, they didn't know that. Our Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina, he saw some Arabs, these some of his children, the Arabs, little children, they were taking some flowers from the male tree and they were hitting on the female plant. So our Nabi asked the people, he said, why are they doing that? He said, we don't know. He said, no, he said, we saw our fathers doing it. Now this was the pet explanation for all the superstitions. They're worshipping idols and images. Why? He said, we found our fathers doing that. When you do such and such a thing, and horrible things, he said, why? He said, we saw our fathers doing that. So Allah says, even if your fathers were ignorant fools, so now it seems like superstition. You're taking one plant and beating onto the other plant. It looks like superstition. So he says, stop it. See, the same type of argument which you use for your idols, your idol worship, now using for this. Stop it. So they stopped it. And there was a crop failure that year in Medina. Very meager crop. So they came complaining to him. He said, oh Muhammad, look what you told us to do, and look as a result. Look at our dates. So Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, look, you carry on with your beating of the plant. He didn't know, I don't know whether he knew, that this is a male plant and this is a female plant. They, Arabs, somehow they discovered by accident that sometimes when our children did that and that tree bear fruit in abundance. So he said, it is very good. So very good. They started doing it, keeping it going. Now they discovered, says, no, if you don't do that, because they didn't know about pollination, that the insects and the bees and the wind was doing the job, but it's not as good as you doing it physically, bringing them together, because the male plant can't come and walk and meet the female plant. Same thing in the pawpaws. It's a papaya, pawpaws, beautiful fruit. You see, I planted, I love this fruit. I ate one day and very tasty, so I took the seeds and I threw in my garden. And 2 pawpaw trees, they started, papaya, started growing. I don't know what you call it. Pawpaws. Is it understood? Papayas. They say papaya. They started growing. And in time they bore fruit, delicious fruit. Very tasty. So I took the seed and I planted again. Nothing. And I keep on planting the seeds, nothing is happening. Then I dried them up in ashes and planted, nothing happens. Then different ways of treating the seed. I tried and tried and tried, nothing happens. And I can't understand. Why? What's happened? When I threw the thing first and it grew, and now nothing is growing out of these seeds. The seeds look perfect. And it took me a long time to discover what when Allah says, Subhanallazi khalaqal azwaja kullaha mimma tunbitul ardu, of the vegetable kingdom. Then I found that the pawpaw trees, this papaya, there is a male tree and a female tree, like in the dates. The female tree has big flowers growing around the trunk. The male tree has a small stalks, and at the end of it are small flowers. The bees and the wind, that's the job of pollination. If there is a male tree around, it will be fertile. If there's no male tree, you can have 100 female trees, you'll get the fruit. But the seeds are all useless, worthless. You can't plant the seeds. You can't have any more pawpaws. Once they're old and dead, gone, finishes the furnish. 1400 years ago, Allah Bari Ta'ala, through His Ummi Prophet, is telling us, Subhanallazi, glory be to Him, Khalaqal Azwaja Kullaha. Miracle of knowledge. I think I will end with this one last example for this evening. As I say, there are endless, wallah, there are endless. An illiterate a layman like me, I can give you a dozen. I give you, this book of Allah is a miracle of journalism. Journalism. It's a miracle, wallah, of embryology, what information it gives you. Psychology. Look, each and every man of science, I said, go to the book. and look at the book, analyze it from your particular form of knowledge that Allah gave you, and look at it. It's a miracle from every point of view, wallah. Mu'jiza is a miracle of miracles. So as a journalism, you see, I discovered this by accident. Most of these things I'm discovering by accident. But accidents are no accidents. Allah Bari Ta'ala is Musabbibul Asbab. He creates opportunities. If your eyes are open, somebody is speaking and he gives you a cue and you discover something. And somebody shows you something and you discover something. Because you are in the field. I live outside Durban, about 20 miles out. And every morning I was traveling at a road, in the road we call the beach road, like the Corniche, on the seaside, into Durban. Now they have a freeway, so I don't use that Corniche road anymore, the beach road anymore. I take the freeway because it's faster, quicker, no obstruction to get to my work. So on the old road, I remember very, very distinctly that at a certain intersection, there was a news vendor, early morning newspaper, and he had a placard, every morning a new placard, trying to sell his newspaper. So while driving, I read the placard, and I make up my mind, the newspaper is not worth buying today. I don't want to buy the newspaper. According to the placard, what they're offering me, the news inside, I'm not interested. So I park my car in Durban, in the city. This is just on the outskirts of the city. In the city, I park my car, I take a walk to my office, and on the way, another intersection, I see the same newspaper seller, not the same man, but for the same newspaper, but there's a placard, is different. I read the placard and I buy the paper. The same morning paper. The placard is different. Again it happens and again it happens. I don't want to buy and I buy. I don't want to buy and I buy. And I'm trying to think, why does it happen like that? I didn't want to buy and I bought. Why? So I said, yeah, right, I got the joke. The joke was that the place where at the intersection I'm talking about, on the Corniche, is a white area. Europeans, they live. So you are separated into races. And that placard is catering for white readership. They are trying to bait the white man to buy the paper. Placard that will appeal to him, the white man. It doesn't interest me. Talking about Zola Bud, one of our girl runners. I'm not interested in Zola Bud. So, says, man, she won, so what? Something else about some white, so Gary Player, he won $1 million for his God. So what? I'm not interested. But as soon as I come into town, the Indian area, see, we are separated into races. And the placard there, same morning paper, but the placard there is something that appeals to me, so I buy. The newspaper is the same, not two different newspapers. But within it, there are different articles, different subjects, different topics. So they are now fishing. For the whites, a different placard. For the Indians, different placard. For the Africans, different placard. For the coloreds, different placard. What the fish will bite. They know how to catch fish. So I said, right, that is the game. Why I'm getting caught out. I don't want it and I buy it. So the best journalist, the master journalist, is a journalist who can give you a placard that everybody will buy. Not 4 different placards. He writes articles, he writes about topics, and if he advertises that one placard, he says the Pakistani will buy, the Bangladeshi will buy, the Arab will buy, the American will buy, everybody buys. If you can have a journalist like that in the Khalij Times or in the Gulf News, the newspaper owners will never let the man go. You know that? Every day a placard which makes his paper everybody to buy. He's a master journalist. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is such a journalist. He's not him. He's a master journalist. About the omnipotent, the omniscient, knowing his creation, knowing how to bait you, how to catch you, how to get people be attracted to his book. He's showing you. Our Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam is in Medina. He's surrounded by mushriks, his own people, mushriks. He's surrounded by munafiqs. He's surrounded by Muslims. He's surrounded by Jews. He's surrounded by Christians. 5 different groups of people, and you want to sell your newspaper. The idea, your proclamation,